100 Civics Questions. Part 1. Learn Q1 to 15 for the U.S. Citizenship Test, animated and clear. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button and let's learn together. The classroom is cozy, with posters of historical landmarks on the walls and soft sunlight spilling through the windows. The hum of the overhead lights provides a calm background to the exchange. At a desk, a student named Mark is sitting across from Anne, a teacher with a friendly smile. The study guide is spread out in front of them, and Mark seems ready to tackle the questions.
All right, Mark, we'll go through the first 15 questions together. I'll ask you each one with 3 possible answers. Pick the one that you think is correct, and I'll explain it afterward. Ready to begin?
Yes, let's do this.
Question 1. Who is the governor of your state? A. The President of the United States. B. The leader of your state. C. The mayor of your city.
I think the answer is B. The leader of your state.
That's correct. The governor is the elected leader of your state. Governors have the responsibility of overseeing the laws and policies within their state and working with the state legislature. They play a key role in managing state resources and making decisions about education, healthcare, and public safety. Question 2. Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? A. The Native Americans. B. The Spanish settlers. C. The African slaves.
I think the answer is A. The Native Americans.
Exactly. Native Americans, also known as indigenous peoples, were the original inhabitants of the Americas. They lived in diverse tribes and cultures long before the first Europeans arrived and began colonizing the continent. Question 3. What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? A. Life and liberty. B. The right to own property and the right to bear arms. C. Freedom of speech and the right to assemble.
I think the answer is A. Life and liberty.
Correct. The Declaration of Independence, written in 1776, famously asserts that all people have the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These principles are the foundation of American democracy and continue to shape the country's ideals of freedom. Question 4. What is one responsibility that is only for U.S. citizens? A. To vote in a federal election. B. To serve in the military. C. To pay taxes.
I think the answer is A. To vote in a federal election.
Absolutely. One key responsibility that is exclusive to U.S. citizens is the right to vote in federal elections. Voting is a vital part of participating in democracy, allowing citizens to have a say in choosing their leaders and shaping national policies. Question 5. When was the Constitution written? A. 1787. B. 1776. C. 1800.
I think the answer is A. 1787.
Yes, The U.S. Constitution was written in 1787 during the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. It replaced the Articles of Confederation, which were not strong enough to govern the new nation. The Constitution laid the framework for the U.S. government that we still follow today. Question 6. How old must citizens be to vote for president? A. 21 and older. B. 18 and older. C. 16 and older.
I think the answer is B. 18 and older.
Right. U.S. citizens must be at least 18 years old to vote in presidential elections. This was established by the 26th Amendment in 1971, which lowered the voting age from 21 to 18, allowing more citizens to participate in the democratic process. Question 7. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? A. The Atlantic Ocean. B. The Pacific Ocean. C. The Indian Ocean.
I think the answer is B. The Pacific Ocean.
Correct. The Pacific Ocean borders the west coast of the United States, stretching from California to Alaska. It is the largest and deepest ocean on Earth, playing a significant role in trade, travel, and environmental factors in the U.S. Question 8. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now? A. Nancy Pelosi. B. Mike Johnson. C. Chuck Schumer.
I think the answer is B. Mike Johnson.
Yes, Mike Johnson is the current Speaker of the House of Representatives. As Speaker, he holds one of the most powerful positions in the U.S. government, responsible for guiding legislation and maintaining order in the House. Question 9. Name your U.S. representative. A. Answers will vary. B. Joe Biden. C. Abraham Lincoln.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Exactly. Your U.S. representative depends on your congressional district. Each district elects one representative to the House of Representatives. You can find out your specific representative by looking up your district on the official House website. Question 10. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. A. The Crow. B. The Cherokee. C. The Aztec.
I think the answer is A. The Crow.
Correct. The Crow are one of the many Native American tribes in the U.S. They originally lived in the Great Plains and have a rich history and culture. There are many different tribes across the country, each with its own unique traditions and languages. Question 11. What are the two major political parties in the United States? A. Democratic and Republican. B. Green and Libertarian. C. Whig and Federalist.
I think the answer is A. Democratic and Republican.
That's right. The two major political parties in the U.S. are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. These parties represent different ideologies and policy approaches, and most elections are contested between candidates from these two parties. Question 12. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? A. The Bill of Rights. B. The Preamble. C. The Emancipation Proclamation.
I think the answer is A. The Bill of Rights.
Exactly. The Bill of Rights consists of the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. These amendments guarantee fundamental rights like freedom of speech, the right to a fair trial, and protection from cruel and unusual punishment. Question 13. How long do we elect a president for? A. 4 years. B. 6 years. C. 2 years.
I think the answer is A. 4 years.
Yes, U.S. presidents are elected for a 4-year term. They can serve a maximum of 2 terms or 8 years, as outlined by the 22nd Amendment, which limits presidential tenure. Question 14. What is one right only for U.S. citizens? A. To vote in a federal election. B. To live in the U.S. without a visa. C. To own property in the U.S.
I think the answer is A. To vote in a federal election.
Correct. Voting in federal elections is a right reserved for U.S. citizens, while non-citizens may have some legal rights. The ability to participate in choosing national leaders and shaping federal policies is exclusive to citizens. Question 15. Who is the father of our country? A. Thomas Jefferson. B. Abraham Lincoln. C. George Washington.
I think the answer is C. George Washington.
Absolutely. George Washington is often called the father of our country due to his pivotal role in the American Revolution and his leadership as the first president of the United States. He set many important precedents for the office and the nation. Great work, Mark. You're doing an excellent job with these questions. Ready for the next round?
Yes, I'm ready.
The soft rustle of paper fills the room as Anne turns to the next page of the study guide, excited to continue the lesson. 100 Civics Questions, Part 2, Master Q16 to 30 for the Naturalization Test. Fun 2D cartoon learning. Join thousands of learners by subscribing today. The classroom feels calm and focused, with a light breeze coming through the window and the faint sound of birds chirping outside. Mark, now a bit more relaxed, sits at his desk with his study guide, ready for the next round of questions. Anne smiles at him as she flips through the pages of her binder.
All right, Mark, let's continue with the next 15 questions. Are you feeling good?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's go.
Question 16. Name one right only for United States citizens. A. To vote in a federal election. B. To own property in the United States. C. To live in the U.S. without a visa.
I think the answer is A. To vote in a federal election.
That's right. Only U.S. citizens have the right to vote in federal elections, such as presidential and congressional elections. This is one of the privileges that come with citizenship and is a key part of participating in American democracy. Question 17. What does the judicial branch do? A. Passes laws. B. Enforces laws. C. Reviews laws.
I think the answer is C. Reviews laws.
Correct. The judicial branch, which includes the courts, is responsible for interpreting laws and determining if they follow the Constitution. The Supreme Court is the highest court in this branch and has the power to strike down laws that are unconstitutional. Question 18. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1800s. A. The Civil War. B. The Revolutionary War. C. The Spanish-American War.
I think the answer is A. The Civil War.
Yes, the Civil War was fought from 1861 to 1865, primarily over the issue of slavery and states' rights. It was a pivotal moment in U.S. history, leading to the end of slavery and shaping the future of the nation. Question 19. What was the main concern of the United States during the Cold War? A. Communism. B. Democracy. C. Trade policies.
I think the answer is A. Communism.
Exactly. During the Cold War, which lasted roughly from the 1940s to the 1990s, the U.S. was mainly concerned with stopping the spread of communism, particularly as it spread through Eastern Europe and Asia. This led to tensions with the Soviet Union. Question 20. Who was the first president? A. Abraham Lincoln. B. Thomas Jefferson. C. George Washington.
I think the answer is C. George Washington.
Yes, George Washington was the very first president of the United States, serving from 1789 to 1797. He set many important precedents for the office, including stepping down after 2 terms, which is still followed today. Question 21. What is the name of the Vice President of the United States now? A. J.D. Vance. B. Kamala Harris. C. Mike Pence.
I think the answer is A. J.D. Vance.
Actually, the correct answer is A. J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is the current Vice President of the United States. Question 22. Who is the Commander-in-Chief of the military? A. The Secretary of Defense. B. The Vice President. C. The President.
I think the answer is C. The President.
Correct. The President is the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military. This means the President has the authority to direct military operations, though major military actions typically require approval from Congress. Question 23. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? A. Because there were 13 original colonies. B. To represent the 13 amendments to the Constitution. C. To symbolize the 13 military branches.
I think the answer is A. Because there were 13 original colonies.
Exactly. The 13 stripes on the flag represent the original 13 colonies that declared independence from Britain in 1776, forming the foundation of the United States. Question 24. What is the capital of the United States? A. New York City. B. Los Angeles. C. Washington, D.C.
I think the answer is C. Washington, D.C.
Yes, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. It is not part of any state and was chosen to be the seat of the federal government, housing important institutions like the White House, the Capitol, and the Supreme Court. Question 25. Who is the Chief Justice of the United States now? A. John Roberts. B. Clarence Thomas. C. Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I think the answer is A. John Roberts.
Correct. John Roberts is currently the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. He plays a key role in overseeing the judicial branch and ensuring the court's decisions are in line with the Constitution. Question 26. What is the name of the President of the United States now? A. Joe Biden. B. Donald Trump. C. George W. Bush.
I think the answer is B. Donald Trump.
Correct. Donald Trump is currently serving as the 47th President of the United States, having been re-elected in 2025. Question 27. If both the President and Vice President can no longer serve, who becomes President? A. The Secretary of State. B. The Speaker of the House. C. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
I think the answer is B. The Speaker of the House.
Correct. If both the President and Vice President are unable to serve, the Speaker of the House of Representatives becomes President. This is outlined in the Presidential Succession Act. Question 28. When do we celebrate Independence Day? A. July 4th. B. June 14th. C. December 25th. Question 28. When do we celebrate Independence Day? A. July 4th. B. June 14th. C. December 25th.
I think the answer is A. July 4th.
Absolutely. Independence Day is celebrated on July 4th to commemorate the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, marking the birth of the United States as a free nation. Question 29. Why does the flag have 50 stars? A. Because there are 50 states. B. Because there are 50 founding fathers. C. Because there are 50 national parks.
I think the answer is A. Because there are 50 states.
That's right. Each star on the American flag represents one of the 50 states. As new states joined the Union, a new star was added to the flag. Question 30. Name one of the two longest rivers in the United States. A. The Mississippi River. B. The Colorado River. C. The Rio Grande.
I think the answer is A. The Mississippi River.
Correct. The Mississippi River is one of the two longest rivers in the United States, along with the Missouri River. It flows from northern Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico and has been an essential waterway for trade and travel. Great job, Mark. You've made it through another round. How are you feeling?
I feel good. This is getting easier.
Anne smiles and flips to the next page of the study guide, excited for the next set of questions. 100 Civics Questions, Part 3. Study Q31 to 45 with 2D animation. U.S. citizenship made simple. Did you learn something new today? Tap like to let us know. The classroom is bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun, and Mark, now more confident, looks through his study guide. Anne flips through the pages of her binder, ready to continue with the next batch of questions. The room feels calm, with the sound of distant traffic and the occasional chirp of a bird outside adding to the peaceful atmosphere.
All right, Mark, let's continue with the next set of questions. Ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Question 31. Where is the Statue of Liberty? A. In the New York Harbor. B. In Washington, D.C. C. In Chicago.
I think the answer is A. In the New York Harbor.
That's correct. The Statue of Liberty stands in New York Harbor. It was given to the United States by France in 1886 as a symbol of freedom and democracy. The statue has since become an iconic image of the U.S. and represents the welcoming of immigrants arriving by sea. Question 32. Name one state that borders Canada. A. New York. B. Texas. C. Florida.
I think the answer is A. New York.
Yes. New York shares a border with Canada to the north, along with other states like Michigan and Alaska. This geographic connection has been essential for trade and cultural exchanges between the U.S. and Canada. Question 33. How long do we elect a U.S. representative for? A. 2 years. B. 4 years. C. 6 years.
I think the answer is A. 2 years.
Correct. U.S. representatives serve 2-year terms. This relatively short term ensures that representatives are closely accountable to their constituents, as they are up for re-election every 2 years. Question 34. Name 3 of the 13 original states. A. New York, New Jersey, and New Hampshire. B. California, Texas, and Florida. C. Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois.
I think the answer is A. New York, New Jersey, and New Hampshire.
Exactly. These were 3 of the original 13 colonies that declared independence from Great Britain in 1776. The original 13 states played a pivotal role in forming the new nation. Question 35. How many voting members are in the House of Representatives? A. 100. B. 435. C. 50.
I think the answer is B. 435.
That's correct. The U.S. House of Representatives consists of 435 voting members. The number of representatives per state is based on population, ensuring each state has fair representation in the legislative process. Question 36. Who does a U.S. Senator represent? A. The people of their district. B. All people of the state. C. The President.
I think the answer is B. All people of the state.
Exactly. U.S. Senators represent the entire population of their state, not just a specific district. Each state elects 2 senators, and their role is to advocate for the interests of the whole state at the national level. Question 37. How many justices are on the Supreme Court? A7, B9, C11.
I think the answer is B9.
Correct. The U.S. Supreme Court is made up of 9 justices. These justices are appointed for life and have the ultimate authority in interpreting the Constitution and making decisions on critical legal issues. Question 38. What are 2 cabinet-level positions? A. The Vice President and the Attorney General. B. The President and the Secretary of State. C. The Speaker of the House and the Secretary of Defense.
I think the answer is A. The Vice President and the Attorney General.
Right. The Vice President and Attorney General are both cabinet-level positions. The Vice President serves as the President's deputy and succeeds the President if needed, while the Attorney General heads the U.S. Department of Justice and oversees federal law enforcement. Question 39. What does the Constitution do? A. It sets up the government. B. It writes laws for states. C. It determines foreign policy.
I think the answer is A. It sets up the government.
Yes, the Constitution establishes the framework of the U.S. government. It defines the roles of the executive, legislative, and judicial branches and outlines the powers of the federal government, while also protecting citizens' rights through the Bill of Rights. Question 40. What group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? A. Europeans. B. Native Americans. C. Africans.
I think the answer is C. Africans.
That's right. Africans were forcibly taken from their homeland and brought to America as slaves, particularly to work on plantations in the South. This tragic chapter in American history shaped much of the nation's social, political, and economic structures. Question 41. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States? A. The Atlantic Ocean. B. The Pacific Ocean. C. The Indian Ocean.
I think the answer is A. The Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly. The Atlantic Ocean lies along the eastern coast of the United States. This ocean played a significant role in early American history, as it was the main route for ships traveling between the U.S. and Europe. Question 42. What is the economic system in the United States? A. Market economy. B. Socialism. C. Command economy.
I think the answer is A. Market economy.
Correct. The U.S. has a market economy where the production and distribution of goods and services are driven by supply and demand with little government intervention. This system encourages competition and innovation. Question 43. What is one reason colonists came to America? A. Freedom. B. To find gold. C. To escape war.
I think the answer is A. Freedom.
Yes, many of the early colonists came to America seeking religious and political freedom, fleeing persecution in Europe. This desire for freedom laid the foundation for the country's values of liberty and equality. Question 44. Name two national U.S. holidays. A. New Year's Day and Christmas. B. Halloween and Thanksgiving. C. Memorial Day and Labor Day.
I think the answer is A. New Year's Day and Christmas.
Correct. New Year's Day and Christmas are both national holidays celebrated across the country, with people gathering to spend time with family and reflect on the year gone by. Question 45. What movement tried to end racial discrimination? A. The Civil Rights Movement. B. The Women's Suffrage Movement. C. The Labor Movement.
I think the answer is A. The Civil Rights Movement.
Exactly. The Civil Rights Movement, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., sought to end racial segregation and discrimination against African Americans. It resulted in significant legal changes, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Great work, Mark. You're really making progress. How are you feeling now?
I feel confident. Let's keep going.
Anne smiles and flips to the next page of her binder, ready to continue the lesson as the sun sets outside, signaling the close of another productive day. 100 Civics Questions, Part 4, Practice Q4660, Animated Civics Test Prep for USCIS 2025. Your like helps YouTube recommend this video to more learners. The sun has nearly set, casting a golden hue across the room as Anne and Mark continue their session. There's a slight chill in the air now, and the classroom feels cozy and comfortable, the perfect atmosphere for learning. Mark, still energized from the earlier rounds, looks through his study guide. Anne, with a smile, looks over the next set of questions, ready to guide Mark through them.
All right, Mark, ready to dive into the next set of questions?
Definitely. Let's keep going.
Question 46. What is freedom of religion? A. You can practice any religion or not practice a religion. B. You can practice only one religion. C. You can't practice any religion.
I think the answer is A. You can practice any religion or not practice a religion.
Correct. Freedom of religion is one of the fundamental rights protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. It means that individuals are free to follow any religion they choose or to choose not to follow any religion at all. Question 47. Why did the colonists fight the British? A. Because of high taxes. B. Because of freedom of speech. C. Because of land disputes.
I think the answer is A. Because of high taxes.
Yes, that's right. The colonists fought the British primarily due to unfair taxation without representation. The British government imposed taxes on the colonies, such as the Stamp Act and Tea Act, without giving the colonists a voice in Parliament, leading to widespread protests and eventually the Revolutionary War. Question 48. What is the supreme law of the land? A. The Constitution. B. The Bill of Rights. C. The Declaration of Independence.
I think the answer is A. The Constitution.
Exactly. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It sets up the framework for the federal government and establishes the laws that all citizens, states, and even the government must follow. It is the foundation of the United States legal system. Question 49. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? A. It freed the slaves. B. It ended World War I. C. It granted women the right to vote.
I think the answer is A. It freed the slaves.
Correct. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863, declared all slaves in Confederate states to be free. While it didn't immediately end slavery, it was a crucial step toward abolition and reshaped the Civil War into a fight for freedom. Question 50. What is the political party of the president now? A. Democratic. B. Republican. C. Independent.
I think the answer is B. Republican.
Yes, the current president is from the Republican Party. Political parties play a significant role in U.S. elections, and each party typically has different views on government policies and issues. Question 51. What is the highest court in the United States? A. The Court of Appeals. B. The Supreme Court. C. The District Court.
I think the answer is B. The Supreme Court.
Correct. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States. It has the final authority on interpreting the Constitution and hearing cases that involve important legal principles. Question 52. Who was president during World War I? A. Franklin D. Roosevelt. B. Woodrow Wilson. C. Theodore Roosevelt.
I think the answer is B. Woodrow Wilson.
Right. Woodrow Wilson was the 28th President of the United States, serving during World War I. He was known for his efforts in shaping the League of Nations and his focus on promoting peace and diplomacy after the war. Question 53. What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? A. He was a U.S. diplomat. B. He was the first president of the U.S. C. He invented the light bulb.
I think the answer is A. He was a U.S. diplomat.
Exactly. Benjamin Franklin was a key figure in the American Revolution, serving as a diplomat to France. His efforts helped secure French support for the American cause. He was also an inventor, writer, and founding father. Question 54. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? A. Because they have more people. B. Because they have more resources. C. Because they have more land.
I think the answer is A. Because they have more people.
Correct. The number of representatives a state has in the House of Representatives is based on its population. States with larger populations have more representatives, ensuring that the voices of their residents are more fully represented in the federal government. Question 55. What is one power of the federal government? A. To print money. B. To set up schools. C. To decide local laws.
I think the answer is 8. To print money.
Yes, that's right. One of the powers of the federal government is to print and regulate the nation's currency. This is an essential function of the federal government, ensuring the economy remains stable and that money has consistent value. Question 56. Who is one of your state's U.S. senators? A. Answers will vary. B. Joe Biden. C. Abraham Lincoln.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Correct. The name of your state's U.S. senators will depend on which state you live in. Each state has 2 senators, and they represent the entire state in the U.S. Senate. Question 57. When must all men register for the Selective Service? A. At age 16. B. At age 18. C. At age 21.
I think the answer is B. At age 18.
Yes. All male U.S. citizens and residents must register for the Selective Service at age 18. It's not a draft, but it's a system to ensure that the country can quickly mobilize forces if a national emergency requires it. Question 58. How old must citizens be to vote for president? A. 16 and older. B. 18 and older. C. 21 and older.
I think the answer is B. 18 and older.
That's right. U.S. citizens must be at least 18 years old to vote in presidential elections. This was established by the 26th Amendment, which lowered the voting age from 21 to 18 in 1971. Question 59. What is the branch or part of the government? A. The President. B. The legislative branch. C. The judicial branch.
I think the answer is A. The President.
Actually, the correct answer is B. The executive branch. The President leads the executive branch, which enforces the laws. The legislative branch makes the laws, and the judicial branch interprets them. Question 60. What does the President's cabinet do? A. Advises the President. B. Passes laws. C. Controls the military.
I think the answer is A. Advises the President.
Correct. The President's cabinet consists of the heads of various government departments like defense, education, and health and human services. They provide advice and help the President make decisions on a range of policy issues. Great work, Mark. You're really breezing through this. How do you feel about the progress?
I'm feeling confident. I think I'm ready for the next round.
Anne smiles and turns to the next page of her study guide, ready to continue their lesson as the classroom quiets down with the setting sun. 100 Civics Questions, Part 5. Learn Q6175, U.S. Citizenship Test 2025, Cartoon Explained. Struggling with any question? Comment below and we'll help. The evening is settling in as the classroom glows with the soft light of the desk lamp. Anne and Mark have been steadily making their way through the civics questions. The air feels calm, and Mark seems to be picking up speed as he answers each question confidently. Anne smiles, sensing that the finish line is within reach, and she's eager to keep the momentum going.
Great job so far, Mark. Ready for the next set of questions?
Definitely. Let's keep going.
Question 61. If the president can no longer serve, who becomes president? A. The vice president. B. The Speaker of the House. C. The Secretary of State.
I think the answer is A. The vice president.
That's right. If the president can no longer serve, the vice president steps in as the new president. This is a crucial part of ensuring a smooth transition of power in the government. Question 62. What are two ways that Americans can participate in their democracy? A. They can vote or they can run for office. B. They can watch TV or read the news. C. They can move to another country or stay silent.
I think the answer is A. They can vote or they can run for office.
Correct. Voting and running for office are two primary ways Americans participate in the democratic process, allowing them to have a voice in shaping their government. Question 63. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? A. Freedom of speech. B. Right to vote. C. Right to own property.
I think the answer is A. Freedom of speech.
Exactly. The First Amendment protects several freedoms, including freedom of speech. This allows people to express their opinions openly, which is fundamental to a functioning democracy. Question 64. What major event happened on September 11, 2001 in the United States? A. Terrorists attacked the United States. B. The Declaration of Independence was signed. C. The United States entered World War II.
I think the answer is A. Terrorists attacked the United States.
Yes, that's correct. On September 11, 2001, terrorists hijacked planes and attacked the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. This tragic event deeply affected the nation and led to significant changes in U.S. security policy. Question 65. What territory did the United States buy from France in 1803? A. Alaska. B. Louisiana. C. Hawaii.
I think the answer is B. Louisiana.
That's right. The U.S. purchased the Louisiana Territory from France in 1803, doubling the size of the country and opening up vast areas for exploration and settlement. Question 66. What did the Declaration of Independence do? A. It announced our independence from Great Britain. B. It created the Bill of Rights. C. It formed the United Nations.
I think the answer is A. It announced our independence from Great Britain.
Correct. The Declaration of Independence, adopted on July 4, 1776, declared the colony's independence from Great Britain, marking the birth of the United States. Question 67. What is one power of the states? A. To give a driver's license. B. To declare war. C. To print money.
I think the answer is A. To give a driver's license.
That's right. States have the power to issue driver's licenses and regulate driving laws within their borders, a key example of state-level authority under the federal system. Question 68. Who vetoes bills? A. The President. B. The Speaker of the House. C. The Supreme Court.
I think the answer is A. The President.
Yes, the President has the power to veto or reject bills passed by Congress. This power acts as a check on legislative authority, though Congress can override a veto with a 2/3 majority vote in both chambers. Question 69. Who did the United States fight in World War II? A. Japan, Italy, and Germany. B. The Soviet Union and China. C. France and Spain.
I think the answer is A. Japan, Italy, and Germany.
Correct. The United States fought against the Axis powers, Japan, Italy, and Germany, in World War II. The war was one of the most pivotal events of the 20th century, leading to major global changes. Question 70. Who signs bills to become law? A. The President. B. The Supreme Court. C. The Vice President.
I think the answer is A. The President.
Exactly. After Congress passes a bill, it goes to the President to be signed into law. If the President doesn't sign it, the bill doesn't become law, though there are ways Congress can override the President's decision. Question 71. Name the U.S. war between the North and the South. A. The Revolutionary War. B. The Civil War. C. The Spanish-American War.
I think the answer is B. The Civil War.
Correct. The Civil War was fought between the Northern States Union and the Southern States Confederacy from 1861 to 1865. The main issue was slavery, and the war ultimately led to its abolition. Question 72. How many U.S. senators are there? A. 100. B. 435. C. 50.
I think the answer is A. 100.
Yes, there are 100 U.S. senators, 2 from each state, regardless of the state's population. This system ensures that each state has equal representation in the Senate. Question 73. What did Susan B. Anthony do? A. She fought for women's rights. B. She wrote the Declaration of Independence. C. She was the first female president.
I think the answer is A. She fought for women's rights.
Exactly. Susan B. Anthony was a key figure in the women's suffrage movement, fighting for women's right to vote, which was eventually achieved through the 19th Amendment. Question 74. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? A. July 4th, 1776. B. August 2nd, 1776. C. December 25th, 1776.
I think the answer is A. July 4th, 1776.
Yes, that's right. The Declaration of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1776, and is now celebrated as Independence Day in the U.S., marking the country's break from British rule. Question 75. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? A. The United Nations. B. The United States. C. The President.
I think the answer is B. The United States.
Correct. The Pledge of Allegiance expresses loyalty to the United States and its flag, which represents the nation's values of freedom, justice, and equality. Great job, Mark. You've made it through another set of questions. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm really getting the hang of this.
Anne smiles and starts flipping through her binder to prepare for the next section. The calm atmosphere of the room provides the perfect space to keep pushing forward, knowing they're almost at the finish line. 100 Civics Questions, Part 6. Q 76 to 90 Practice with Fun 2D Animation. Naturalization Prep. Your feedback helps us improve. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. The classroom is now bathed in the warm glow of the desk lamp, the day's last light casting a soft hue through the windows. Mark is feeling more confident with each round of questions, and Anne notices his growing enthusiasm. With just a few more sections to go, she's determined to keep the pace steady. Mark flips through his study guide, ready for another set of questions.
All right, Mark. Ready for the next set?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
Question 76. What is one promise you make when you become a United States citizen? A. To be loyal to the United States. B. To obey the President. C. To become a member of the military.
I think the answer is A. To be loyal to the United States.
Correct. When you become a U.S. citizen, one of the promises you make is to be loyal to the United States, pledging allegiance to the country and its values. Question 77. What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? A. The Senate and the House of Representatives. B. The President and the Vice President. C. The Supreme Court and the Senate.
I think the answer is A. The Senate and the House of Representatives.
Exactly. The U.S. Congress is a bicameral legislature, meaning it has two chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. These two bodies work together to create and pass laws. Question 78. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? A. The Constitution was written. B. The Declaration of Independence was signed. C. The Bill of Rights was created.
I think the answer is A. The Constitution was written.
Yes. In 1787, delegates from the states met at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia to draft the U.S. Constitution, which established the framework of the government and the laws of the new country. Question 79. What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? A. To vote in a federal election. B. To pay taxes. C. To serve in the military.
I think the answer is A. To vote in a federal election.
Correct. Voting in federal elections is a responsibility exclusive to U.S. citizens. It's one of the most important ways to participate in the democratic process. Question 80. What are the first three words of the Constitution? A. We the people. B. In order to. C. Of the people.
I think the answer is A. We the people.
Exactly. The first three words of the U.S. Constitution, we the people, set the tone for the document, emphasizing that the government is created by and for the citizens of the United States. Question 81. What is the supreme law of the land? A. The Constitution. B. The Bill of Rights. C. The Emancipation Proclamation.
I think the answer is A. The Constitution.
Yes, that's correct. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, meaning it's the highest legal authority in the United States. All other laws and actions must conform to it. Question 82. Before he was president, Eisenhower was a general. What war was he in? A. World War I. B. World War II. C. The Korean War.
I think the answer is B. World War II.
Correct. Dwight D. Eisenhower was a general in World War II before becoming the 34th President of the United States. He was instrumental in leading the Allied forces to victory in Europe. Question 83. Name one state that borders Mexico. A. California. B. Florida. C. New York.
I think the answer is A. California.
Yes, California shares a border with Mexico, along with other states like Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. This geographical connection is important for trade, culture, and travel between the two countries. Question 84. How long do we elect a U.S. Senator for? A. 2 years. B. 4 years. C. 6 years.
I think the answer is C. 6 years.
Correct. U.S. senators serve 6-year terms. Senate elections are staggered so that only about 1/3 of the Senate is up for election at any given time. Question 85. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? A. George Washington. B. Thomas Jefferson. C. Benjamin Franklin.
I think the answer is B. Thomas Jefferson.
That's right. Thomas Jefferson is credited with writing the Declaration of Independence, which formally declared the colony's independence from Great Britain in 1776. Question 86. Who is in charge of the executive branch? A. The President. B. The Supreme Court. C. The Senate.
I think the answer is A. The President.
Yes, the President is the head of the executive branch of the U.S. government, responsible for enforcing laws, directing foreign policy, and leading the military. Question 87. Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II? A. Franklin D. Roosevelt. B. Herbert Hoover. C. John F. Kennedy.
I think the answer is A. Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Correct. Franklin D. Roosevelt was president during both the Great Depression and World War II. He introduced the New Deal to help the country recover from the Great Depression and led the U.S. through much of World War II. Question 88. What did Martin Luther King Jr. do? A. He fought for civil rights. B. He was a U.S. Senator. C. He wrote the Emancipation Proclamation.
I think the answer is A. He fought for civil rights.
Exactly. Martin Luther King Jr. was a leader in the civil rights movement, fighting for equality and justice for African Americans, most famously through his nonviolent protests and his "I Have a Dream" speech. Question 89. What is an amendment? A. A change to the Constitution. B. A new law passed by Congress. C. A speech made by the President.
I think the answer is A. A change to the Constitution.
Yes, an amendment is a formal change or addition to the U.S. Constitution. For example, the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, guaranteeing key freedoms and rights. Question 90. In what month do we vote for president? A. November. B. December. C. October.
I think the answer is A. November.
Correct. U.S. citizens vote for president in November, on the first Tuesday after the first Monday of the month, during general elections held every 4 years. Great job, Mark. You've made it through another section. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling more confident than ever. Let's keep going.
Anne smiles, flipping to the next set of questions, knowing that Mark is getting closer to mastering all 100 civics questions. The lesson continues as the evening winds down, but there's still plenty of energy in the room to finish strong. 100 Civics Questions, Part 7 Final. Q91 100 for U.S. Citizenship. Animated Review and Recap. This video can help so many. Click share and spread the knowledge. The classroom is almost completely dark now, with only the desk lamp illuminating the pages in front of Anne and Mark. The air is calm, and the lesson is nearing its end. Mark has been answering the questions with ease, and Anne can see his confidence grow as they approach the final set. Mark looks at his study guide one last time, feeling proud of how far he's come.
All right, Mark, you're doing great. Just a few more questions to go. Ready for the finish line?
I'm ready. Let's get this done.
Question 91. Who makes federal laws? A. Congress. B. The President. C. The Supreme Court.
I think the answer is A. Congress.
Correct. Congress is responsible for making federal laws. It consists of two chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives, which work together to pass legislation. Question 92. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? A. Checks and balances. B. Presidential vetoes. C. Federal courts.
I think the answer is A. Checks and balances.
Yes, Checks and balances are built into the U.S. government to ensure that no one branch, executive, legislative, or judicial, becomes too powerful. Each branch can limit the powers of the others. Question 93. How many amendments does the Constitution have? A. 27. B. 25. C. 33.
I think the answer is A. 27.
Correct. The U.S. Constitution currently has 27 amendments, which have been added over time to address important issues, such as civil rights and voting laws. Question 94. What are two rights of everyone living in the United States? A. Freedom of speech and freedom of religion. B. Right to bear arms and the right to a speedy trial. C. Right to own property and the right to vote.
I think the answer is A. Freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Exactly. The First Amendment guarantees these fundamental freedoms to everyone in the United States, allowing people to express themselves and practice any religion or no religion at all. Question 95. When is the last day you can send in federal income tax forms? A. April 15th. B. January 31st. C. July 1st.
I think the answer is A. April 15th.
Correct. April 15th is the deadline for filing federal income tax returns unless you apply for an extension. It's an important date for anyone who earns income in the U.S. Question 96. Name one U.S. territory. A. Puerto Rico. B. Canada. C. Bermuda.
I think the answer is A. Puerto Rico.
Yes, Puerto Rico is an unincorporated U.S. territory located in the Caribbean. People born in Puerto Rico are U.S. citizens, though they do not have the same voting rights as those in the states. Question 97. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1900s. A. World War II. B. The Revolutionary War. C. The Civil War.
I think the answer is A. World War II.
Correct. World War II was one of the major conflicts in the 20th century, and the United States played a pivotal role in the Allied victory over the Axis powers. Question 98. What is the capital of your state? A. Answers will vary. B. Washington, D.C. C. New York City.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Exactly. The capital of each state is different. You can easily find the capital of your state through a quick search, depending on where you live. Question 99. Name one problem that led to the Civil War. A. Slavery. B. High taxes. C. Religious conflict.
I think the answer is A. Slavery.
Correct. Slavery was one of the primary issues that led to the Civil War. The Southern states wanted to maintain the institution of slavery, while the Northern states opposed it, leading to a bloody and divisive conflict. Question 100. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? A. The United States. B. The President. C. The flag.
I think the answer is A, the United States.
That's right. The Pledge of Allegiance expresses loyalty to the United States and its ideals, such as freedom, justice, and equality, symbolized by the flag. Great job, Mark. You've made it through all 100 questions. How do you feel after answering everything?
Honestly, I'm feeling really good. Some of the questions were a bit tricky, especially the ones about current officials and the government structure. But overall, I think I did well.
I agree. You did a great job. The questions that most people find challenging are often about the specific names of government officials, like the president, vice president, and speaker of the House. Keeping up to date with the current administration can be tricky.
Yeah, I had to think a bit for some of the names. It's hard to remember all the officials, especially when they change after elections.
Exactly. It's a good idea to check for updates right before your interview. The historical questions are usually easier, like the ones about George Washington or World War II. You handled those perfectly. How did you feel about them?
Those were easier for me. I've studied history a lot, so the questions about wars and the founding fathers felt pretty straightforward. I just had to make sure I didn't mix up the dates and names.
That's great. You have a strong foundation there. For some applicants, the trickiest part can also be understanding the government structure, like questions about who makes laws or the role of the president, but you answered those quickly too.
I think the hardest question for me was the one about the judicial branch. What does the judicial branch do? I had to take a second to remember that it reviews laws.
That's understandable. The judicial branch can be a bit confusing, but you got it right. All in all, you did an excellent job. The real interview will feel a lot like this, and you're definitely on the right track.
Thanks, Anne. I really appreciate your feedback. I'm going to keep reviewing and making sure I stay up to date on the current officials.
You're welcome. Keep practicing and you'll be all set. You're doing great, Mark. When you're ready, we'll continue with more practice, and you'll be ready for your interview in no time.
Thanks again, Officer Anne. I feel much more confident now.
As Anne smiles, Mark feels a sense of accomplishment, knowing that he's prepared for the next step in his journey toward U.S. citizenship. The lesson ends, but the knowledge he's gained will stay with him as he moves forward.